This is the second of my 5 Pro Studios figures. This is Get a Robo. In fact, it's Shin Get a Robo. Um, I don't know Japanese, but I did look up Shin, and it's got a variety of definitions, including true and God, and there's a lot more definitions. But so I don't know which one they're using here. This big, fat, chunky Get a Robo, I believe, is probably from the Shin Get a Robo manga, and I've never actually read any of the manga. I've seen the anime, so here's my anime collection. This is pretty much everything, as far as I know, that's been released in the West. Hopefully, more will be released. I did a whole video on Shin Get a, I'm sorry, on Get a Robo, but I never released it. I never published it because I messed up in how I described what Get a Robo is. So I'm going to try again real quick. Basically, Get a Robo is a combiner. There's 3 vehicles that combine, but the difference between Get a Robo and, as far as I know, every other robot is that these 3 vehicles can combine in 3 different ways. So they produce 3 different robots. So this would be one example of one of the robots. The Get a Robo combining is pure fantasy. It's 3 aircrafts that attach together, and based on which order in which they attach, they form a different robot. But the ships, the vehicles, look nothing like the final form. So it's difficult, if not impossible, to reproduce it. So this would be, I don't know, Getter 1 or something like that, and then there would be two other getters that would be formed from the vehicles. So what I love about 5 Pro Studio is just the sheer perfection of what they produce. I only own 3. That's all they have in their Carbotics lineup. I am waiting for my 4th one, which would be Voltron. So the Get a Robo is I would say, a much bigger franchise than Astro Ganger, which, as far as I know, only ever did 1 series. Get a Robo has been around since the 1970s, and right now I'm working on this series, Get a Robo Arc, which, by the way, of the 4 series that I have, this one thus far is easily the best. I wasn't that impressed by any of these ones. Get a Robo Armageddon, New Get a Robo, and Shin. So this one, I believe, is from one of the manga. And so the series kind of jumps between anime and manga, and then sometimes the manga will eventually be turned into an anime. So I don't have any pictures or anything to compare this robot to. I'm sure I could probably look them up, but you can see in here the paint is flawless. The cape is fabric, stiff fabric with wire around the edges. The robot is, now they say it's, I don't know. I don't really understand the Carbotics lineup. It feels like metal. It really feels like metal. And one of the pieces fell off. So I'm not sure why they made this decision, but the calf pieces are not held on by anything. And I was carrying it one day, and it fell off. So there's not magnets, there's not clips. I have no idea why they made that decision. It is probably the one thing about this figure I find a bit odd. I guess the other thing is the Get Array is really hard to activate. So I don't really use that. The cape was easy to put on. The articulation is limited, but I'm fine with that because I get that. It uses some nice ratchet joints. This is one of those figures that really looks gorgeous on a shelf, and I think you can see there the colors are so incredibly vibrant. And I don't think that it is at all unreasonable to expect near perfection in one of these high-end figures. This one is no longer available. You could buy it on the secondary market. But if you go on Blitzway or 5Pro, 5Pro's website's not working, but Blitzway's website, it's no longer listed at all. So this one has gone up in price. But those colors, everything about this figure is absolutely gorgeous. And it's another figure where I can put it on the shelf, and I think somebody looking at it would not think of it as a toy. They would look at it and think of it as almost a piece of artwork. So I'm sure that I could go in here with a magnifying glass and probably find errors or scratches or something somewhere. But from the naked eye, it looks pretty much perfect. And it's got nice weight to it. Feels heavy. Feels like metal. So they describe carbonics as a metal-like substance, but I know that the third one that I'm going to show is not any kind of metal. It's just plastic. So I'm not sure what the carbonics name even means, but I really suspect that it's got metal down here. And the nice thing about this figure is that, a figure like this is probably, I guess, probably 8-9 inches tall. Falling over could be tragic, but it's got a nice low center of gravity, so that even if you wobble it a bit, it really kind of, you could, I'm sure, knock it over. Obviously you can knock it over if you give it a good enough hit. But if you keep it on a shelf, it should be perfectly fine, unless you're in an earthquake area, or you really bump it hard, because that nice low, and that's really how you should make figures, is put that metal low, keep the plastic parts high, and that's how the companies that know what they're doing, that's how they do it. So this is, I have a ton of Get a Robo robots. This is only one of them, and eventually I'll be showing more, and I'll show, I'll discuss Get a Robo Arc and the two robots that basically kind of are companion pieces to Get a Robo Arc. So next I'll be showing the third 5Pro Studio figure I have.